This empty chair represents the addict who died today, not knowing recovery was possible.
Okay, and welcome to another episode of The Empty Chair. If you noticed the posting on this meeting, there's a lady there. Her name was Joy Gallagher. This show is going to be all about sponsorship, and Joy, she sponsored my daughter, and I don't know how many others. She sponsored a lot of ladies and saved a lot of lives, and I include my daughter in that. Unfortunately, when she was coming up on 10 years, she had some surgery, uh, got on some pain meds that they gave her. And even though she had a lot of time and she had all the tools, addiction is powerful. And a couple of things, she didn't do the right thing. And she's not with us anymore. And I miss her. And she's still got a bunch of sponsees that miss her also. But we're dedicating this show in her memory. And by doing that, I brought in a new sponsor family. And I'm going to see how I'm getting pretty old, don't forget. But I'm going to Lauren, Stevie, and Brooke. Stevie is the sponsor, and Lauren and Brooke are the sponsees. And we're going to get into how they all got together. But first, we're going to see if we can just get just a brief history on each one of them, how old they were started, what they got for clean time, what made you finally realize it was time. We'll start with the boss. That's you.
Oh,
Yeah, you're the sponsor. So, yeah. So, how old were you when you started experimenting?
Oh, 11, 12.
Yeah, and that's not unusual, actually.
Yeah.
And how fast did you progress?
Oh my gosh. I was like full blown in it by the time I was 14.
And what was your drug of choice?
Heroin and
Really?
benzos.
Wow,
Yeah.
you didn't mess around.
No.
And how long were you active?
So I actually officially got clean when I was 18. So for me, it was not as long as some with the
No.
running, So
You
yeah.
was that your one and only attempt, or?
No, so I had one before that.
Mhm.
An attempt, if you'd call it that.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't.
Didn't have your heart in it.
No, it was like, oh, okay, maybe I can make people happy and get them off my back, and have a place to sleep if I just kind of try it. But no.
But at 18, it stuck.
Mhm.
And you got how many years in now?
Approaching 10.
Wonderful. And that's unusual to see someone find recovery at such a young age. It doesn't happen that often, unfortunately. So you had kind of a fast journey compared to many of the other stories I've heard.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad you're here.
Me too.
And I'm so glad you're now active in recovery with these two young ladies. So now we'll start with Lauren. And how old were you when you started experimenting?
I was 16.
Oh, an old timer, huh?
Yeah.
Late
It was
bloomer.
like a junior to senior in high school.
Okay. What were you doing? Just pot and booze? Or?
Pot and ecstasy. It was back when that was big.
Oh, yes. Okay.
That was a great time, but it didn't stay great forever.
See, it has a habit of doing that, doesn't it? Huh?
Well, I'd be lying if I said, it was never fun.
Well, of
it was
course.
fun for a while. I
Of course it
didn't get I didn't get hooked on anything that it was a problem affecting my life until I was 21.
21.
When I was in college.
When you were in college.
Yeah, it was my senior year, I believe, of college.
And that's when you started to...
Like the opiates.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. And how long did that last for?
So, I got really bad at 21. I got clean at 26.
So you used for quite a while then.
Mm-hmm.
you're lucky to be alive,
I know.
and we're happy that.
Yeah, I would try to stop. My parents would like put me in an outpatient
Sure,
program or take my car or do any of the, do all these things, but I still couldn't grasp that I couldn't drink and smoke pot. Like I
Right.
didn't think that those things
Yeah,
counted,
yeah,
but
yeah.
they kept bringing me back,
Mhm.
and it took me a while to figure that out.
Right. So what? How old were you when you finally said enough? Not when somebody else wanted you to change. How old were you when you said I will?
I was in detox when I finally was like, okay, I want to do this for me.
Okay.
I got to treatment by my family's gift of desperation, not my own.
Uh-huh.
I just kind of wanted to get them off my back
Yeah.
and get my car back again.
Yeah.
And something clicked for me in there.
That's great.
Mm.
But I know, I do a family support group, and in most cases, in the beginning, yeah, they go into treatment because of the family to get them off their back.
Yeah.
My daughter Colleen, she went into detox so many times, she probably didn't even have to have a reservation anymore. But she
Right.
was, she was never serious about it.
Yeah.
She didn't get serious about it until she OD'd and almost died. But so you've been in recovery for how long now?
I had 10 years clean,
Mhm.
and I never actually knew the story of Joy and how she ended up relapsing with 10 years clean.
Yeah.
When I had 10 years clean, I got cancer, and I had a bunch of surgeries and treatment and everything. I was in a lot of pain, and they gave me pain meds, and then the world shut down and we went into quarantine, and I was in a really dark place. So I got squirrely. I started abusing my meds for 4 months until I got caught. So I was still going to meetings. I made all these justifications on why I was entitled to take them as I felt the need. And so now I'm coming up on 3 years clean.
Great.
Again.
And a lot of people, they'll put in, they'll have a lot of time clean, and for one reason or another, they'll relapse, be it surgery or whatever. And a lot of times they're just so guilty and so embarrassed that they don't want to start over again.
It was rough.
Of course it's rough. But did you learn something from?
I did, and I feel like the quality of my recovery is better now than it was prior.
Excellent.
But it was a lot of ego and pride to get over.
Sure.
It was very humbling, and I was very angry for a long time.
Yeah. Well,
as you can tell, I'm still a little angry about it.
Well, and so it's okay to be a little angry, but I've worked with quite a few, and they'll realize. My always concern is, did you learn anything? Yeah. Because a great man that I used to know, and I'm sure you guys never heard of, his name was Joseph Cotton. He used to be the CEO at the Psychological Center. He passed away quite a few years, but he was my mentor. And I used to hate it when he says this. He says, relapse is part of recovery.
Mm.
And Colleen always puts down, it's not a requirement.
It's not a requirement.
Not a requirement. Yeah. But I am glad that you found your way back into recovery. And I'm sure it couldn't have been easy after being clean all them years.
No, I got lucky.
And the cancer is gone.
It is.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yep. I meant to tell you, Lou, you have the number up every now and again, right? Yeah. My wife will probably wouldn't mind calling you because she's been dealing with cancer for 8 years.
She call me anytime.
Yeah, she loves she loves success stories, not only in substance abuse, but also in cancer too. All right, Brooke.
All right.
Yeah, what are you, 12?
Close. Almost. You're right. I'm old. I'm going to be 40 in 3 years.
Oh my God, 40.
3 years. I'm going to be 40. I'm
I'm going to be 75 in 3 days. All right. So how old were you when you started messing around?
I was 12 when I first started getting into alcohol and weed.
Okay.
It was really close to home, in the home, and easy to access.
And what happened? How did you progress?
So for me, there was actually a rapid progression.
you know, I talk about it when I share, because they say like the disease of addiction like is progressive and ultimately fatal. And the progression was just for me, you know, it was like by the time I was 15, like I was completely strung out. What ended up being my drug of choice, which was heroin, but anything would go, you know what I mean? Like there wasn't something I would say no to. I had favorites, of course, but I never turned down a drug. And by the time I was like 16, 17, like I was homeless. I had already reached like a level of despair that no human being should, you know, and fully understood that I had a problem with drugs. And, you know, I think one of the biggest things for me was that like in my entire community, everybody was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So although I wasn't naive to the fact that this wasn't normal, it wasn't abnormal in my community either, you know? And so I didn't see like recovery or like a different way of life. And so you kind of go with it. I went with it, you know?
For how many years did you go with it?
For a long time. So I have a different story than like, you know, Stevie and Lauren. I was probably in and out of at least 15 detoxes, never really gaining any substantial amount of clean time. 30 days here, 30 days here, tried multiple different avenues. And then ultimately, God willing, my last clean date was when I was 30, when I turned 30. And that's almost 7 years ago.
Wonderful. Well, when you said, was there something that made you say, yeah, this time?
So I think about that a lot. More in the beginning of my recovery, I did, and I can't really identify, because I can't say like the last time that I was out there was any worse than the time before, because honestly, like my disease brought me to places that like no human being should be. And so it was pretty much the same. I think the biggest difference for me was like honestly, I think I had a spiritual awakening at the last facility that I was in.
Okay.
You know, a lot of the times I would go into treatment, and you know, because addiction affects your mind and the way you think, and we lie to ourselves and we believe our own lies. And because I had been to detox.
Addicts lie?
Not me.
Oh, okay. Just
not
the other
me.
addicts.
Probably them.
Yeah.
Probably not me. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. So because I went to detox, because I went to halfway houses, because I tried, because I went to meetings, because I got a phone number, I had fully convinced myself that like I'd given recovery an honest shot. And so that was like my war cry. I tried, it's not for me. I tried, it's not for me. And then in hopefully what was one of the last, you know, facilities that I was forced into, I don't sleep. I wouldn't sleep when I was detoxing, and like I was awake, and like I had like just like this thought and like kind of like a remembrance of all the times that I have tried. And like it occurred to me that like that was a lie that I had been like feeding myself, and I had never truly given recovery a chance. You know, there was a few things. Yeah, I went to a program. I didn't listen. I didn't change the person I became. I didn't take the, you know, suggestions like sponsorship and separate. I just kind of went in and hoped for a miracle. You know, well, I'm just gonna, you know, wing it, and it wasn't successful.
Tell me something. I guess all of you. Your addiction, was it before fentanyl?
Yeah.
What do you think about that lovely stuff that's out there now?
Scary.
I know. I tell Colleen, if fentanyl would have been available when she was using, for all the years she was using, she probably wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
It's pretty nasty out there.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to ask all of you. I know genetics plays a huge part in a lot of addictions. What about in your families? Did you, any of you, have it in your family?
Oh yeah.
You did?
Yep.
You did?
I did not.
You didn't?
No.
Okay. What made you, do you think it was just the people you hung out with, or
I
get
think
accepted,
that,
peer pressure, or?
you know, there was never like any drugs or really even alcohol in the house.
Right.
But like my mom has, I think, a pretty significant gambling habit.
Okay.
And my dad's a workaholic. So
Okay.
like they have obsessive things, but not
Okay.
technically like addiction.
Alright.
But they really
So-
drank. But my brother's sober too for
Right.
8 years, so
So
we both had a problem.
So why do you think that you got affected? And I mean, why did you start like a new line in your family, so to speak? I mean, was
I
it?
don't know.
I mean, I know you were just going out and having fun. You didn't think it, yeah.
I just feel like it just snuck up and grabbed me.
Sure.
But I had friends doing the same thing, so it felt like this is what I'm supposed to do. Everybody else is, but then they grew up and they stopped,
Yeah.
and I couldn't grow
Yeah.
up. I couldn't stop.
Yeah, don't let it bother you. I couldn't stop for 50 years.
Hmm.
Then my wife convinced me that I had a problem.
Yeah.
So I'm coming up on 3 years.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Yay.
Hey guys, I know you're out there. We're going to start talking a bit more about the sponsorship family, but if any of you want to call in remembrance of Joy or to talk to one of these ladies, the number's there, 978-659-0072. I read that pretty good, didn't I?
Yeah, that was amazing.
Okay, so let's start to begin. How did you end up with these two characters?
For Brooke, been together for a while.
Yeah.
I remember like seeing you at the Daybreak Shelter when we used to go to meetings and stuff there.
Daybreak Shelter?
I worked
Yeah.
there.
Wow. You were down there.
I worked there. Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And oh my god, she was like totally like city girl. Like I was terrified of her. And,
Yeah, she looks like a brute anyway.
Oh, yeah,
my
yeah.
God.
yeah. And then like you throw on like a fitted cap on her, and she's even scarier. Like a straight brim, yeah.
Mhm.
And I don't know. She just one day we just like got to talking, and I was like, wow, she's not that scary, And she was just motivated, and she wanted to actually do it, which
Yeah.
a lot of the time people ask you to sponsor, and then whatever the case may be, they find someone else, or they're just not quite there, don't understand what it is, don't quite do the work, whatever it is. But she did.
Yeah.
So
But I mean, what made, like, when she asked you to be a sponsor, what made you think she'd be a good fit with you?
she proved it.
Yeah.
I never say yes to anyone right away. I say call me and we'll see if we're a good
okay.
fit.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, you're a tease.
Yeah.
well, so my
Oh
thing,
my
right?
God. I would have never guessed that.
I've had so many people, like again with like the houses and stuff,
Mhm.
like, will you be my sponsor, just to like get to the next phase,
Yeah.
whatever. But then they find someone else who's like a better fit, and then it puts them in that uncomfortable position where they don't want to have the talk of like, I
Sure.
found someone else, whatever.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, I'm not going to say yes right now. Let's just talk and see if we're compatible.
Okay.
And,
And actually,
yeah.
that's probably a smart way to do it.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to take a wild guess. You've had some sponsees that maybe didn't work out so well.
yeah, I mean, it's part of the program.
Yeah.
Some just kind of fall off, and
Yeah.
you wonder what happened.
Yeah.
And then some, they will have the conversation and just say, I think this isn't working out, which I think is a courageous thing.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I don't take any offense to that, because it's like, save your life. Whatever you got to do. If you're not getting what you need out of the relationship,
Mhm.
then get it,
Yeah.
So that's a conversation I have with people up front. Like, if this ever isn't working out, tell me.
Yeah, I agree. I know Colleen, after Joy, she bounced around to a few sponsors before she finally tied up with Emily. I'm sure you guys are acquainted with her.
Yeah.
All right. So how did Lauren get into this happy little family? It is happy, right?
So
Of course.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Better see that. So we actually were introduced through our friend group. So
Mhm.
in addition to sponsorship family, we've all kind of grown close to, and
Mhm.
have a big gang of girls, whatever, that all hangs out. And we were all part of the same group. And I actually didn't even know Lauren liked me. And then one day she she asked me, and I was like, oh, that was really unexpected. So it was, it was pretty cool. It was after coming back from her relapse,
Mhm.
and I know she had like experience with like prior sponsors, just, what you're looking for changes
Mhm.
over time. And yeah, she asked me and here she is.
All right,
Here we
now I got to put the shoe on the other foot. Why did you seek her out as a sponsor?
So I've been, I've been in the program for a long time. I've had 7 sponsors
Okay.
through the years. And I always was drawn to a certain type, you know. The last sponsor I had, she was amazing. She was really good to me, very loyal. She helped me a lot, but she lives like 2 hours from me.
That's tough.
And we made that work, I think, for like 6 years. But it was hard. I only got to see her a couple of times a year. And so to do step work and stuff, it was difficult. And when I relapsed, like I had a year clean again, but I just felt like maybe I needed something a little different, like someone that could have like go to meetings with me, or like at least know my network, or like just something different. I just felt like it was something I like had yearned for, because I had sponsors that were close and in the same area. So that it was just something I was looking for, but I looked for a long time, and I couldn't find anybody. Like I didn't see anybody fit that like I was willing to give up what I had to try something new. And it was really hard for me to, when you have a sponsor for a long time, it's like a breakup,
Sure,
and
absolutely.
it's really difficult, especially because like how much time and energy they put into helping you, and then to be like, oh, I'm moving on, it was brutal. But Stevie she has like this serenity and peace, or at least it looks like
actually,
it. Yeah, like I don't internally, I don't know if that's what goes on in her head, but that's what I always saw in her. And like very spiritual, and like not so, like not black and white when it comes to things, like lives in the gray sometimes. Like people that are black and white like that, I can't do with that. I live in the gray. And then also like seeing how she was as a wife to somebody in recovery, like I'm married to somebody in recovery, and sometimes that can be a little bit difficult. And knowing I just felt like that Stevie would be able to bring me to that next step, and like that next phase in my recovery where I could find some like peace that I didn't feel I had.
Okay, great. And after you got done scaring her, why did you go ask her to be your sponsor?
So I was like super intimidated, generally am, specifically around like, things that are going to be beneficial for me, like women in recovery. And so I was like familiar with her, just seeing her in meetings. And I also came into a situation where I needed to like change my sponsor and just bring my recovery to a different place. Like I was there and I saw her. She constantly went to meetings. I really loved the way she carried herself. She spoke her mind respectfully. She, stood up for things that she believed in. She was consistent, and she was so like calm and soft spoken, and the exact opposite of me. So I feel like we kind of evened each other out.
Sure.
And one of those things that I had heard originally, like look for somebody who has what you want.
Exactly.
And originally it's like, okay, she has a house, a boyfriend, a car. Oh, that's cool. But because I did want that stuff too. But she had more what I wanted, like internally.
Sure.
And wasn't sure if it was going to work. And she, saved my life for sure.
Yeah, I'd like to hear stuff like that from sponsors. Now, I'm going to take a wild guess. The sponsorship family just doesn't include the 3 of you, does it?
No.
No. Because I know when Colleen had Joy, and when Joy passed away, I was petrified. I thought Colleen would. But what was amazing is her and all of her sponsee sisters just got together, and pulled each other through. It's pretty freaking amazing, actually. So you're also sponsoring now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now has she met? I guess you would be the grand sponsor. Is that how it works?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
Mima.
Mima. So I have one sponsor that I sponsored her prior to my relapse,
Mhm.
and then I made her go get a different sponsor until I got a year again, and then I took her back.
Okay.
So I've been sponsoring her for quite a while. She has a little over 18 months.
Mhm.
And she's like in our friend group.
Yeah.
So we're really close. And then the other two I've only been sponsoring for maybe 3 weeks ish.
Okay.
And they're in houses.
Yeah, yeah.
One's in a recovery house, one's in a program.
Okay. And what about you, Brooke? You have any others?
So I have one, yeah, and she's my first one that we've made any progress. You
Mhm.
know, similar to like what Stevie was having, it can be a little bit tough. And you know, you get people calling and then they just kind of stop calling.
Yeah.
So I'm actually excited and nervous and all of those things to kind of be in this position to
Mhm.
help, you know, potentially help someone the way that Stevie did for me.
Right. Now,
But
um,
sponsorship aside,
yeah.
I think we can agree Brooke has helped
Yeah.
a lot
Oh, yeah.
of people, even if she doesn't have that title.
yeah.
Like Brooke, I tell her all the time when I hear her speak that she's like one of the most extraordinary people.
Yeah.
Like her story, she's extraordinary. So
Are you extraordinary, Brooke?
I mean,
really
you heard
is.
it first.
Yeah,
you
you
heard it
She
first.
really
yeah.
She'll never
She-
tell you she is.
No.
no, just hearing her speak at a meeting helps me. So I can't
Yeah.
imagine how much it helps the newcomer.
Sure. Oh, I can imagine. I
Yeah.
can, because I know whenever Colleen, my God, this September will be the 15th
Mm.
celebration I've been to for her. And yeah, it's always nice to see the ones from the houses that come down that are less than 20 years old. Some of them,
Yeah.
it's pretty awesome. But I'm going to take a wild guess that you guys are just more than sponsor and sponsee. I guess you kind of grow to be friends, huh?
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
definitely.
And do you sponsor any other than these two, or do you have a couple more in the corral?
I've got a couple more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got 2.5 more. One we're like working on it. We're
Yeah.
gonna see. So she's
Yeah.
my half. But
Okay.
so one of the girls I sponsor, we actually used together, like way
Oh, really?
back in the day.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
And the first time that I had tried to get clean, I ended up at her house, like after, you know, going into detox and refusing further treatment. And she was like having a party, and I ended up relapsing like that night and stuff. And it's just like really crazy. Like everyone I used with back then, there was like a group of 4 of us, and all of us are clean now. But
Oh, that's
yeah,
great.
It's kind of a cool experience.
You know, true story. When Colleen only had maybe about a year clean, maybe not even a year, and Joy was her sponsor, and I was your typical parent, just driving her crazy. And she was in a relationship where her girlfriend was using, and she was still with her, and I'm talking to her, and she finally got to me and says, "Listen, if you don't believe what I'm saying, call my sponsor."
Mm.
So she gave me Joy's number, and Joy would not go into particulars, obviously, but she'd just tell me, "Don't worry, she's doing all the right things. I'll let you know." And that's why I love Joy, because she wasn't only Colleen's sponsor, she was mine.
Aw.
And do you guys have a case where you have to deal with a nutty parent? Or
I have in the
Okay.
past.
well, I'm glad I wasn't the only one.
No.
That makes me feel a little better.
When I got clean on Cape Cod and I stayed there for 6-7 years,
okay.
and there's a lot of recovery houses down there and
Mm,
stuff. So
yeah.
I did have moms a couple of
Oh,
times
okay. Yeah.
call me.
Yeah, because parents, to me, they can be the biggest stumbling block in their kids' recovery.
Mm.
And one of the things I preach to all of my parents, if they're in recovery, if they want to talk to you about it, they will.
Yeah.
Talk about something. I said, that's all they hear about is recovery. So we, in that case there. So you guys have been together. Do you ever get like the whole sponsorship family get together, her sponsors along with yours and so forth like that?
No.
No?
During COVID, like when the meetings were shut down and stuff, we did like a sponsorship family meeting on Sunday nights where like my sponsor, my sponsor's sponsor,
Oh, okay.
they kind of like invited us in.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like we would kind of go in sometimes and do like readings
Sure.
and just have like a little kind of
Yeah.
get together. So,
That's great.
but
Yeah.
no, I don't think so.
Oh, who we got, Lou? Who do we got?
Jen,
Jen.
Jen?
can we hear?
Hello?
I can't.
Hello,
Hello, who's this?
it's Jen.
Hi, Jen.
Jennifer.
What Jen is this?
Jen Aguaya. I don't know if
Oh.
I should have said her
Oh,
government.
that's
That's your Jen.
that's my Jen.
That's
Hi,
your
Jen.
Hi, Phil.
How are you?
Yeah, you
I
can put
just-
them on if you want to
I
hear.
just wanted to call in.
Well, I'm glad you did. We
I
were
wanted to
talking.
call in and say you have a great representation of
Oh.
sponsorship on here with these ladies, and it was funny because I was thinking about Joy,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the exact reason that Lauren and Brooke stated why they asked Stevie to be their sponsor, because Joy had that sense of calm and spirituality around her,
Yeah.
even though she was crazy.
Relatable.
But I just wanted to say that I love all of those ladies on there, and is that Stevie, you're a great representation of what the program is and what sponsorship is. And Phil, congratulations! I'm so proud of you.
Well, thank you. Hey, listen, actually, I was talking to Colleen, and I thought maybe next season we might do a follow-up of Joy's sponsees all these years later. What do you think?
I say let's do it. We're all still standing.
Yeah,
Yes,
like,
we
where
are.
are they now?
Jen, you're the
Yeah.
greatest, and I know you've got a wonderful family now, and you're doing great, and yeah, we love you too.
We love you, Jen.
Love you,
Hi,
Jen.
Jen.
Love you.
Bye, Jen.
I thought for sure it was going to be
She
Brooke's
was,
husband.
He's calling. Don't worry. He'll
Yeah,
call
she
in.
was a sponsor of Joy's
Yeah.
also, and yeah, I can remember because when we went to Joy's service,
No, you're good.
all of them were there. You know, it was hard for them, but boy, the closeness they had
Mhm.
was great. All right, I'll tell you what. Well, we're going to take a break in a couple of minutes, but what I want to know now is, well, you know what? I think we'll wait because I want to find out what's in your life now. You know, all the good stuff. We're all done talking about the bad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, the first half hour is the bad stuff. The second half hour is what it should be about your recovery and your relationship. So we're gonna take off for about 2 minutes, and when we get back, we're gonna find out what a real success stories are like. So we'll be back in 2 minutes, guys. Hang on.
Haven of Hope is a faith-based 12-step recovery home for women seeking a loving and structured lifestyle to help them persevere over addiction. Our sober living house offers women an opportunity to gain life skills, coping mechanisms, and personal growth so they may return to their home or working field as productive members of society. Haven of Hope's approach is based on fostering a structured, faith-based life with a core component being the 12 steps from the Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, for with God, all things are possible. Contact Haven of Hope at havenofhopemethuen.org or call 978-258-3982. That's 978-258-3982, or visit us at 82 Union Street in Methuen.
Hi there. My name's Phil Leahy, and I do the Empty Chair show here. And as much as Fran and I have enjoyed doing this show, our real passion is with where it all began, the Circle of Hope, my support group for the families of addicts. I learned a long time ago that dealing with an active addict is just too difficult. So we invite you to join our group, the Circle of Hope. Give me a call, 978-886-2949, and you'll see our banner on the show anyway. And give me a call, find out what it's all about. You know, if you don't think you're ready to sit into a group, Fran and I always invite people over to the house, and we sit down, have a one-on-one, and we talk about a plan you'll have to set up, how to deal with someone in active addiction, or just give you a chance to vent. So, I mean, if you or someone you know has dealing with someone in active addiction, reach out, give a call, take the first step. I promise you that it won't make it easier, but once you understand what it's all about, you'll be able to deal with it a little bit better. So again, 978-886-2949. Just ask for Phil. I'm always available 24/7. Thanks, and we'll see you on the empty chair. Bye-bye. Okay, and we are back. For the next half hour, we're going to talk about the good stuff that these ladies are doing and have accomplished. Lou will keep putting the number up there. Please give them a call. You know, you want to say hi to them, or if you want to, you know, in memory of Joy, we'd love to hear from you. All right, so let's start with sponsor.
Okay.
What's going on in your life right now? Family?
Yes, family. I'm married, so I got a husband. We have a toddler, so
Toddler.
busy. Yeah,
How
she'll be
old?
3 July 1st.
Oh, cool.
So she's fun. She's a lot, but she's great. And like these are like her aunties.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this group we built are like her aunties.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So this is family.
Yeah. And what about work?
Yep. So I work. I went to school. I'm in a STEM field. So biology was like my career path.
Okay.
Found that I'm actually like pretty damn smart.
How
I
about
like to try.
How about that?
Yeah. Going back to complete in computer science.
Great.
So yeah, lots of academic awards and teams and stuff of that sort.
And I'm glad you said that. And I've known this with a lot. I mean, Jen, I know what she's been doing with her life and everything. Her husband. Some people have the idea that if you're an addict, then your brain is fried and you can never think again. And that's not true, is it? Obviously. So.
You have 3 very intelligent women here.
Yeah.
So.
And a bus driver.
A very intelligent bus driver.
Very intelligent bus driver. Well. All right. How about you?
So I'm married as well. I met my wife in an NA meeting.
Okay.
We've been together 13 years.
13.
Yep, she's coming up actually on 20 years clean.
So she was with you during the bad times too, then?
Yes, when I got sick,
Yeah.
she was by my side. She was holding my meds. I just happened to find them, but she was one. She called my sponsor, told my parents on me, like
Oh,
she was
boy.
there for all that.
Yeesh.
So we've been together a long time. We've been married 7 years,
Good.
but together for 13. We have a dog, no kids. I started my own business in 2015, and I've been doing that now for,
What is it you do?
I own an insurance agency.
Wow.
So I write property and casualty insurance.
Oh my goodness. Good for you.
Yeah. I just,
And your significant other, what does she do?
she actually is graduating on Sunday with her master's degree.
Wow.
She works in ABA therapy, which is she works one-on-one with children with autism.
Nice.
Yeah. So, so this is going to be the 3rd graduation for her that I've gone to because she got her associates, then her bachelor's, now her master's.
Wow.
So yeah, she's doing big things.
Did I mention I drive a school bus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The best bus driver.
I didn't get my master's in it, but
Yeah.
I'm working on it.
You're still winning.
I'd crash that thing. So bless your heart.
Yeah.
All right, Brooke. And where are you other than sitting in that chair? Scaring Stevie.
I know. No, she's not scared anymore.
Oh, that's
No.
good. I'm glad to hear
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I'm a
scared.
lover now.
I'm a
not
little
afraid of-
scared.
Well,
Okay.
it's okay.
That's
That's all right. It's a good baseline.
Yeah, that's why I got you over there.
yeah,
I
yeah.
could
I
see
hear
that
you.
in you, so I
Yeah.
wanted to have a couple of buffers.
I don't blame you.
Yeah,
Good
okay.
move.
So,
So I do want to just say one thing that's really funny about me and when I was like going through my whole process and wanting to like, you know, be on the other side, but I couldn't get it. I used to have this vision of what was going to save my life. And I always envisioned that if I could just find a hot, rich husband, that
And
that
that-
would be
And
it.
everything would be
and there's so
fine.
few of us.
Seriously, well, not taken,
I
not
know.
taken, right? And so that was always my like, you know, and my husband would be very upset if I didn't announce that, like, it didn't happen right away,
Mhm.
but I have a hot, rich husband now. I mean, not like rich, but like, you know, we can eat takeout all week if we wanted. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah,
So we're pretty good.
that's good.
But all seriousness, I'm married.
I got a hot, poor wife.
Okay,
Yeah,
close.
but she is hot.
Oh, that's all that matters
Yeah.
then. Yeah. So we're married and we have 2 children.
Okay.
A dog. We just got a dog for the first time in July. Jackson Lewis Dewhurst. He's amazing.
Jackson Lewis Dewhurst.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is too.
Mm.
Miniature pincher. Yeah, we just moved into his dad owns property. We moved into a house. So we live in North Andover, which is like, I mean, you made it if you like live in North Andover.
No, you haven't made it until you move into Methuen.
No way. We lived
Yeah.
in Methuen
No,
and then we
no,
moved to
no.
North Andover.
We'll have to agree to disagree on
Okay.
that.
All right. Yeah. And you know, I have a job that I've been at.
What do you do?
I work in treatment.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Yep. I've been there for coming up on 5 years. I also went back to school. Took a little break right now because my husband's also in school to finish his plumbing license.
Mhm.
And it's just tough, you know. I have such a beautiful life that recovery allowed me to create. And so creating a healthy balance is kind of where I'm at right now. But beyond blessed, an amazing group of women in my life that I wouldn't be here without.
Mhm.
Friends, family,
What do
you
mean?
know.
You wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me. I'm the
Well, I
one
mean,
that-
technically.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
I
yeah,
thought
yeah.
you were talking in the
Technically.
moment.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Technically, I invited her.
Yeah.
Technically,
See.
that's right.
Okay. Yeah. Let's. But
No,
yeah. Thanks.
you know, all kidding aside, you know, one thing I've noticed about people who are in true recovery, you know, I mean, any dope can get clean, but to be to change your whole attitude, way of life, and so forth like that, that's something amazing.
Yeah.
I always find, and I'm going to give you guys a compliment now. You guys and other people I've seen, you know, like my daughter and Jen, who just called, you're the kind of people that other people would like to be like.
Mm.
I don't know if it's because you have so much gratitude and you're grateful to, you know, not only have the life you have, but to actually be alive.
Yeah.
You know, obviously I'm proud of all of you. It's nice to have you here. And one thing I want to ask you now, you told me how you are with your internal thing. What about your parents, grandparents, whatever? How's the relationship with them? Robin?
I was gonna say, like, you know, I've like accumulated like all these things by being clean, like even the internal things, like all this stuff. But the most important thing that I'm most grateful for is like I can be a good daughter today, and a good sister, and a good wife, and a good aunt. My family is very close, and my wife's family is very close.
Wonderful.
So, you know, my parents still do not understand addiction.
Oh, really?
No, they think that I would never go back to that. Even when I told them I was messing up and stealing my meds, they said it's the biggest travesty to happen in Narcotics Anonymous that I changed my date. And I'm like, no, like, how do you not understand after all this time? You
Well, no.
know?
If you would like, you know, you can give them my number. Maybe they'd like to come to our
Yeah,
group.
they hold me so,
which is great.
you know, it's great.
Yeah.
But you know,
But you know, I
I
mean,
let them continue to think the way
yeah,
they do. I
but
don't need them to
I would love to.
understand
No, I
anymore.
think you do, because God, you know, and once they have an understanding, they will be able to appreciate your recovery more than you're just being clean.
I don't know if they could.
You know.
They're pretty much my biggest fans. But I'm very close with my family.
Well, then that's good. All right,
Yeah.
forget I said that. Shut up. Shut up. But I am so glad. I know it's extremely important, and I know the relationship me and Colleen have. I would never have thought we'd be as close as we are. It's really great. How about you, family wise?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
Really, it wasn't a whole lot of emphasis in that. Pretty good.
No, so like recovery, you know, gave me a relationship with my dad that like I never had. You know, I was able to like find forgiveness towards him. Just I was angry at him for like a long time, and
because
you know, he had his own issues
okay.
As I was growing up and stuff, and just, you know, stuff with him and my mom, and you know, a lack of presence. And then I gave him another shot, and I said, you know, let's do this. And
how about your mom? Is she still around?
She actually passed away coming up on a year.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. She must have been kind of young.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I'm 75. Everybody's kind of young.
Right.
Okay.
60s, you know, early 60s.
That's too bad. I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But these girls, you know, they showed up and they were at my house.
Yeah, I'll bet they were.
My mom had to see me for 9 years.
Yeah, and that's what I'm getting at. You know, you know, when somebody says they got a sponsor, they got a sponsor. It's not just that. I mean, you have sponsees that were there for you, so it is a two-way
Brooke was
street.
the first person I called.
Really?
Yeah, I found my mom, and Brooke was the first person that I called.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
But I am happy that you had people to help you through it, because everybody, myself included, whenever we have someone who's in recovery and they go through a horrendous thing, we get scared.
Yeah.
We get scared, and it's nice that you have that.
Yeah.
And your family, now that you got this hot rich husband.
Yeah, well, so added bonus I wasn't expecting. He actually.
We got a phone call? All right, hold that thought.
Yeah,
Brooke.
yeah.
Is it the hot rich husband?
Oh, gosh, it might be. Okay.
Who is it? Hello.
Hello, Phil.
Hi.
Hi, ladies. It's Michelle C. calling.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi. I'm not the hot rich husband. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. He's there.
I'm just me, Michelle C. I'm the one with the 4 daughters and the set of twins. So I just wanted to say I'm really happy to see you ladies up there sharing your experience, strength, and hope. Brooke, I saw you when you came back this time around, and I was over at the Wednesday night meeting, and like I heard you share a few times, and like I'm sure that people have told you this before, because just the change that I've seen in you is just phenomenal, and I'm honored to be a witness of that change, because I moved out of the area, and I didn't go to NA a lot. I went to a different fellowship, but I'm still in recovery. May 2nd, I got 14 and a half years clean.
All right.
Congratulations.
Yay. And then Stevie, I don't know you directly, but I know your mother-in-law. No, your stepmother. She goes to the same church as me. And then I know your husband. He did some plumbing in my house before, believe it or not. And I mentioned his name on Facebook, and a friend of mine was like, "Oh my God, that's and it was before you guys got married. It was like a couple of months before you guys got married. And she's like, "That's my future daughter-in-law," or my daughter-in-law. It was wicked funny. I'm like, "Oh my God, what a small world." And Lauren, I know you from, probably, I don't know, it's been like at least 5 years, I'd say. Anyways, God, time flies and you're having fun, but it's just so good to see you, and just you and your wife, and you're doing this thing. You guys give me such hope, and all that you do, and like, with your wife's graduation, like, it just seems like yesterday I saw at Market Basket, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm going back to school." And I'm like, here I am working on my master's too, slowly plugging away. We all have our own different paths, and then, with your business and stuff. And you know, the stuff that you were going through along with your family, like, oh man, like the strength that I see in that, you know, in the video, watching it on Facebook, and like, and when Jen called in, I all of a sudden got this flashback to when I first got clean, and Joy and the girls. I was not one of Joy's sponsees, but she surely was a strong person in my network. And we always used to go over Joy's house on Friday nights and do step work together. And like we did that like for months and months and like years and years and years. And like, you know, if it's one thing to take away from me, or like to take home, if any, you know, not young woman, any woman listening, is like, get a solid foundation with a good group of women who will not slap you in the ass, but like will protect your ass, you know? And like, you know, just I got that, you know, and I'm here still clean. Like my husband passed away when I had 15 months clean, and like I stayed. Like I still yet today. I still haven't found it necessary to pick up, you know, mood changing and mind altering substance. Thanks be to God. But yeah,
that is,
so
you know, I am glad, you know, and we were just talking about that when something catastrophic happens and you do stay clean. So I do call. I thank you for calling in, Michelle, and I wish you continued sobriety, and
thank you.
And you know, maybe you'll visit the show sometime down the road too.
Sounds good, Phil. Thanks. I'll talk to Cole about that.
Okay, you do that.
All right. Take care. Bye now.
Bye bye. Brooke, before we get into yours, there was a friend of mine who called in and says, how do you emphasize to someone to in recovery how important it is to have a sponsor? And I've never really found the words to that either. But why did you figure it was so important for you to have a sponsor?
You know, going to a 12-step program and to meetings, they always would hammer it in. The sponsorship is the heartbeat of the program. But it was just like someone to hold me accountable, because I wasn't able to do it myself, and I didn't want anybody else doing it for me.
Okay.
But they'll like a sponsor. I had a sponsor once that used to say, like, your sponsor is who has your back against the disease of addiction.
Who we got now, Lou?
It's Araya.
Okay. Somebody must know her. You guys are a hot number tonight. Hello.
Hi. It's Araya.
Hi, Araya.
Hi.
I don't know who the hell you are.
Raya is my lifelong friend since like second grade.
Oh my God.
She saw it.
Hi there.
I just wanted to call because I'm watching and I'm, you know, trying to support all of you guys, and I wanted to call as like a witness to their friendship and their village or foundation, as you guys were saying, because I've been lucky enough to be invited over to like the, you know, little fires at Stevie's house when all of them are there, and on other occasions when I've got to like meet them and their other friends as well. And every time I'm around Stevie and her village, I don't know how else to put it, I'm always like in so much amazement at how strong they are and how connected they all are and how there for each other they all are.
Well, that's so awesome. Thank you so much for calling in.
No problem.
You're part
Love
of it.
you
I love you.
Bye.
Was
Love you, Araya.
All right, so your family.
Yeah, so my family. So unfortunately, I don't have a really close connection. I don't talk to my dad at all, and my mom. You know, it's a weird dynamic. But like I was saying about my heart-rich husband, is that there was a bonus to him that I didn't realize, and that is his family. He has a huge, massive family who love me probably more than they love him, which is fine. But I'm amazing, so it makes sense. But
you
I'm
don't
so
lack
blessed.
confidence, do you?
I actually do.
Really? Okay.
But as far as like his family loving me, I'm confident.
All right.
Yeah, his mom is actually a huge fan of yours, Joanne Simone. She's in the comments
I
right
know
now.
her. Yeah.
You know, one of our biggest supporters, and so blessed beyond belief. And anybody that is like listening and maybe didn't have a family or coming in, that was one of my biggest things. Like, what am I going to do this for? I'm all alone. I have nobody. But in recovery, I literally developed and grew this family that I could have never
That's
even
awesome.
dreamed of.
Yeah, it's a nice feeling, huh?
Yeah, it's
Family.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now tell me something. All of your significant others, were they all in recovery too?
Yeah.
All of them?
Yeah.
Okay. Geez, I should have had all 6 of you.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that would
fun time.
Fun. Maybe another episode. I'm sure my
Yeah.
husband, he's a big fan. He'd love to get a seat
Yeah, I
in
think
here.
so. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
I'll give you his contact
Yeah,
information.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll be doing shows till I'm 90.
There you go.
All right. Well, we still got about 10 minutes left. All right. Here, I would like to maybe go into a little bit more about that question that the woman had about, and I know her, and her daughter is fighting recovery. Let's say that, and that's why I think a sponsor is so important to her. But it's pretty tough to get someone to want to sponsor that really doesn't want to sponsor, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times until they're ready for a sponsor, the people, their kids in my group, I'm sorry, the parents, their kids, every now and then I'll call them. There's a few I connect with, and there's a few that just let the phone ring too.
Yeah.
But is there a way to show someone that being in the sponsorship family can be beneficial, make their life a little more enjoyable?
I think that the whole dynamic and the idea behind the sponsor is super intimidating, right? Especially for somebody first coming in. Most people walking through the door, they struggle with trust. They have bound, they have all this fear, doubt, insecurity, and so it's really terrifying to even put yourself in front of someone and ask them to be your sponsor, but B, take that steps to let the wall down. But if I could say, why it's so important, it's just kind of like everything else in life, right? Like if you're just starting to do something, you don't know how to do it, like you want to get somebody who's been successful at it, right? And like I walked in the door, I had no idea how to be clean or be in recovery, and so like I had to latch on to somebody that had been successful at it. And but more than that, it's really it was the first strong female bond that I had in recovery, and that opened the door for my willingness to let other women in, which ultimately was my saving grace.
Well, let me tell you, now your husband and your wife, do they have sponsors? Are they active in recovery?
Mine does.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
kind of. Yeah, active in recovery, 100% active in recovery.
But does he
Yeah.
have a sponsor?
Yes. Yes, technically.
Technically?
Yes, technically.
You ought to be a politician.
Yeah.
No, I just, I mean, let's face it. I think one of you said it before. I think it might have been you. When two of you have been active and you're together, I'm sure that you can support each other. But I can remember Joy. One of the things she was saying that if she works too hard on one of her sponsees' recovery, she'll use before
Yeah.
she'll end up. You guys feel the same way about
100%.
that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
You got to meet people where they're at,
Yeah.
and
and you kind of learn as you go.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had sponsees in the past that I chase them in my car with Narcan and go like park in the bushes while they're getting drugs so I can make sure they'll be okay. And I've had to learn like boundaries and
Yeah.
like that I suffered most for
Yes.
that episode, so you learn as you go. But I did see Paula's comment that they could feel weak, and I do think that was like something at the beginning for me. Like I didn't want to admit that I needed anybody's help, and it's still hard for me to ask for help because I'm a very like I got this type of person.
Yep.
And
I think you get that from your parents.
I'm like that a lot. Like and I've had, in the past 8 months, it's been probably like the most traumatic, like awful time. My brother has been he got in a really bad accident. So like I think the next day, like he was in a coma for 6 weeks,
Ooh.
and they showed up with food at my house. I hadn't even been home yet.
Mhm.
Like it was that fresh, and they were there with food, and you know, and I just try to do everything myself.
Mhm.
And then I'll call Stevie. I'll be like, oh, well, I'm doing this for this one, this for this one, this for, and she's like, what are you doing for yourself today? I'm like, oh yeah, you know. So I'm like that I don't like to ask for help, but it's, you know, because you feel like I had to learn. Somebody had told me that you have to surrender to win, and I always thought you surrender, that means you lose.
No.
And I had to like flip that and think about it differently.
Yeah. I think one of the most important things you learn in recovery, or a parent who is dealing with someone in recovery, is don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah. But it's still hard.
It
you know,
is,
with time
but-
clean. So I know
But
when
somebody,
they're new,
you know,
it
when
is
somebody
hard.
asks you for help, you kind of feel kind of good, don't you?
Yeah,
So if you
Yeah.
ask somebody for help, don't think of it as you asking them for help. Think of it as you making them feel good that they're able to help you.
yeah,
I should have been a philosopher.
I know.
Yeah.
That was deep.
But I really do enjoy driving a bus. We only got a few more minutes. So what I'd like to do is give each of you about 2 minutes to close up. You know, we'll start with you, Brooke. You can tell us what your life is like now, what it's like to be in recovery, and what it's like to have these ladies as your sisters.
Yeah.
So take it away.
So I just want to say thank you for having us on the show.
Oh.
It's an honor to be here and just have the opportunity to discuss sponsorship, because it is such an important part
It truly
of
is.
life. You know, right now I have an amazing life that I never dreamed possible. And not just because of the things, but because of like the way I feel about myself.
Yeah.
You know, I have a beautiful 5-year-old daughter, and because I took all the suggestions that were given to me and I got a sponsor and started working on myself, like she has an opportunity to never face what I went through. And that's what I fight for on a daily basis, to be a better person.
Very
So she
good.
doesn't have to experience any of things I went through. My life is amazing. What can I say? You know, life is life, ups and downs, but overall, I'm beyond blessed.
Yeah, I think you are too. And I'm blessed just having all of you guys here. So, Stevie.
Yeah, also, thank you for having us.
No, my pleasure.
Yeah, I mean, life is really good, right? And it's nice to always have a way to like work on the things that like, you know, need to be worked on, to be able to see the things that need to be worked on. One of my big things is, you know, I always want people to like feel loved and welcomed. And, you know, I felt really, really alone for a long time.
Mhm.
And so if I can make someone like not feel alone, or, you know, whatever the case may be, that's kind of my goal.
I know the feeling. I mean, they say you give back, but when you give back, actually it's coming back at you, isn't it? You
Yeah.
just, you know, it's so rewarding.
Yeah.
When you can really help somebody out.
Yeah.
And you, young lady,
Thank you for having us.
you're very welcome.
Yeah, you know, the reason that I think, you know, a big reason why we're successful in our recovery and we're doing all the things that we're supposed to do to keep doing the next right thing and doing the work is because of our predecessors showed us how to do it.
Sure.
You know, so it is sometimes surreal to realize that now, like, we're the predecessors, you know, like
Sure.
I feel like I'm not ready.
Yeah.
But you know, going through like my day, like, you know, using and stuff, those aren't thoughts that I have
Sure.
today. But to go through my day and kind of make sure everybody else is taken care of, and like I do a lot of that for my family, and like making sure everything's okay for everybody else, but to like come and sit and like think about where I came from compared to where I am, it's it doesn't even make sense to me sometimes. Like when I think about things I did back then, I feel like there's no way that could have been me.
Sure.
You know, and I feel as like addicts, I'm like, it's like we live two lives, you know, because the person I am today couldn't even fathom doing the things I once did.
Well,
So
that's
it's a nice
wonderful.
reminder of how far we've come.
It's great. Guys, I am so glad you tuned in tonight. I've been looking forward to doing this show ever since my God, way back when we did one with Joy Gallagher. So this show was in memory of her, but also, like she said, they had predecessors, and I guess Joy was one hell of a predecessor. So this show also shows you that women do recover, and so do
Sure
school
do.
bus drivers.
They sure do.
So with that, we're going to say good night. We'll see you again next time on The Empty Chair. Bye-bye.